Now, do you know your worth? Do you value your skills and abilities, or do you tend to focus on the areas that you're not so good at? Do you know how to sell yourself in an interview or a business meeting, or do you just consider it boasting? And could you be hindering your progress in your career and life in general? Let's explore this today, Selling You or Slating You, on the UK's only show dedicated to mental health and well-being, and I'm your host, Chrissy B. Well, today we're going to start off with our careers expert, Coach Chris Browne, who'll be taking us through 5 steps to selling you. Then we have our Psychology Matters segment with Dr. Audrey Tang, and she'll be talking about the psychology behind the way we project ourselves to others and how that helps or hinders us. Also on today's show, Dr. Rob Hicks will be answering your medical questions in this week's Drs Answers. And we all know that we're not going to be able to perform well in anything if we're not well nourished. And for this reason, Ronald Delary-Simpson is back from his travels to share his recipe for a healthy breakfast for all-day energy. Feyi Jegede will be taking us through a workout because exercise helps us feel good about ourselves. Helena Chard is back to give us some positive news. And we show you the latest primary school we visited to continue with the MHDChallenge Tour. And we'll tell you more about that later. So let's kick off the show today with Coach Chris Browne.
Hi, Coach Chris Browne here today on the Chrissy B Show, and I'd like to speak to you today about selling you. So I'm going to give you a few steps about the 5 steps to selling you. There's nothing more important than being able to actually promote when the opportunity comes up. But in saying that, not all of us are feeling comfortable about selling yourself. And you've got to think about this. What is actually blocking you from this situation? I mean, it might be an interview, or let's say a networking event, and you're there next to the person that you need to speak to, but for some reason or another you just can't get the words out, or what you should be saying about yourself, or how you can connect. Now, let's get to the real nitty-gritty of this. What is actually blocking you? Well, it's a bit about what we call conditioning. And when I say conditioning, I'm talking about let's put from a very young age as a child. You're told, don't say this, don't do that, don't speak out, don't do this, don't do that. And time has moved on now. You're an adult, or a teen, a youth. And this opportunity comes up, and for some reason, this conditioning is still with you. We haven't actually made that point of transition from point 1 to point 2. So, what I'm talking about now is number 2. What is your invisible barrier? Well, your invisible barrier is about that same condition that we were talking about. Your invisible barrier is you being the world's best kept secret. And you feel as if you can't say any more about you because of that conditioning that you had before. Now, if you get to that point where you feel that you can't sell you and you're not promoting you and you're actually feeling stagnant in the position you are, you need to do something about it. So, number 3, how to undo this conditioning. That's the main thing that we want to know. How do we actually undo this conditioning? Well, it's about regaining and actually knowing what your brand is. And what is your brand? So you might need to look inside yourself and say, what are my skills? What is my skill set? What are my qualities? What is good about me? You know, because you are amazing. You are actually amazing. But you've got to know that from inside out, not the outside in. And when I say outside in, meaning that people get in situations and they let the environment around them dictate how they actually feel on the inside. So there we go, back to not being able to promote yourself in certain environments. Let's take it the other way, inside out. If you know your qualities, you know your skill sets, you know what you're about, you know your mission, you should be able to do it the other way around, inside out, and affect what's around you. So, some people do it this way, some people do it another way. Let's talk about number 4 as mastering your elevator pitch. Now, saying that, it's different for each individual. Reason being is that to actually have a good elevator pitch is something that sometimes can come over very fixed. But in knowing you, you know your name, what you do, what your mission is, what makes you different, and you can actually package that and actually sell that and keep that as your little tag that you talk about. But obviously that's a bit fixed. So the more you know about you, the easier it will flow and you'll be able to celebrate you. Number 5, celebrating you, or shall I say celebrate you. The reason why I say number 5, celebrate you, is because you have to actually celebrate who you are, what you're about, what you do, all your achievements as well. And if you feel good about that, you should be able to actually promote it. There is no reason you shouldn't. So remember what I said, inside out, promote, sell you. You're the best commodity going for that company, that situation, or wherever. Coach Chris Browne, Chrissy B.
Thank you very much to Coach Chris Browne there. So now, we did mention earlier that I'll be showing you our latest primary school that we visited with the MHDChallenge Tour. And in case you don't know what the MHD Challenge is, here's a little video to tell you more. I decided on a dance because dance, crosses all barriers.
It's very inspirational and it sort of let out the feelings of mental health.
The dance helps you express yourself and your feelings, and that you can tell someone about how you feel, except from being scared.
It actually aims to encourage people to open up and get the help that they need without the fear of being stigmatised.
You can express emotions through the dance.
Everyone should have the right to feel happy.
Good morning, are you excited about today? Today we are at Brookman's Primary School.
I'm here today with years 5 and 6 at St Michael's Church of England School in Bishop Stortford.
Hi everyone, today we're here at Hillingdon Manor School.
MHDChallenge Mental Health Dance in Studio 68.
This has been Hendon School for the MHDChallenge.
Today we're at Oxford Primary School to do the MHD Challenge.
Because I know what it feels like to be depressed and feel heavy all the time, but I also know what it feels like to be on the other side and completely recovered. I don't want anyone to have to learn to live with depression and other mental health issues when they don't have to. It doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, your age. Everyone can get involved in dancing.
No one necessarily remembers their best maths lesson that they've had or their best literacy lesson, but I think they'll remember their best mental health dance challenge that they've had.
What did you think of the dance when you first heard of it? I thought it was going to be amazing.
Well, stay tuned, because after the break we have our Psychology Matters segment with Dr. Audrey Tang, and she'll be talking about the psychology behind the way we project ourselves to others and how that helps or hinders us. And Dr. Rob Hicks will be answering your medical questions in this week's Doctor's Answers, and here's one of the questions we received. I get really bad cramps during my period and painkillers don't seem to do the trick. Is there anything else that can help? Find out what Rob has to say after this. Welcome back to today's Chrissy B Show, everyone, where we are asking the question, are you selling you or slating you? And here to help us answer that question and to give us some advice is our resident psychologist, Dr. Audrey Tang. Welcome to the show, Audrey.
Thanks for having me, Chrissy.
So, Audrey, can you tell us a bit about the psychology behind actually selling ourselves and how we project ourselves?
Yes, one of the best analogies, or the one that I like, is one created by a writer called Goffman back in the 50s. And he called his book The Presentation of Self in Everyday Life. And the way he analogized how we project ourselves was as if we were actors stepping onto a stage. So at home was our backstage area. We'd put on our clothing, which would be our costume, our makeup, whatever we wanted to do to project that character. We'd then go out into the outside world. And he actually gave us a word of warning, because if what we're projecting out to other people is a little bit removed from how we are naturally, it can be very exhausting. And so he's advised people that in the workplaces you need staff rooms, you need places you can relax, and if the only place where you can actually be yourself is the toilet, it's not good enough. So he was very aware that we were projecting on a regular basis and that it can be quite exhausting. So that was it, that was his approach. And we do project a certain image for lots of different reasons. Social media now, I mean, Goffman wouldn't have known about that at his time, but now we can actually project ourselves without people even seeing us. So we can put across an image which actually we may not be at all, just for show. And that can be a little bit difficult to handle in our heads. Another thing, or another reason why we project ourselves in a certain way, is confidence. We might feel that putting on a certain outfit or wearing a certain colour or something like that can actually make us feel a lot better. And that can be great if we're going for an interview or we're doing a talk or there's something where we just need to feel good about ourselves. But also, on the well-being side of things, sometimes it's actually the way that we get ourselves out of the house, by projecting an image that perhaps isn't like us, because we might be afraid of who we are or we might not like ourselves that much. But again, all of this is tiring, and we must remember that we are often projecting an image. Another word of warning is that it's not just how we look, but sometimes what we say as well that can make a huge difference to people. There are a lot of expectations placed on us in society, and the sad part is you get women, for example, who are very direct. They may they may come across as bossy, or people might criticise them for just being a bit rude or arrogant, whereas a man may not get that same judgment. We avoid things like religion and politics purely because we don't want to offend anybody, and sometimes how we project ourselves is all about how we want to elicit a certain response in other people. So we may hold back feelings that we have very strongly about something just to not cause offence, or we might go down the other route and say something completely controversial purely because it will get a reaction. So it's quite complex but very interesting.
How would you say the way we project ourselves helps or hinders us?
It can help us, certainly, because the more flexible and the more adaptable we are, the more we can fit into any situation. Very commonly in the acting world, you're told to try and dress for the part if you're going there. So the director knows you fit right into that particular role. However, in higher level, I don't know what the word is, it's not recruitment, but higher level sort of headhunting, perhaps, Sometimes the advice would be maybe go for the person who doesn't quite look like that lawyer or that doctor or whatever it is, because if they've managed to get to that stage looking different and not looking conventional, then it might well be their talent that is speaking. So it's just wise to know there is a flip side as well.
Okay.
It can hinder us if we have chosen to be inflexible now. The world is such that a lot of people are saying, well, that's me and I don't have to change. And I'm not saying you do. But what I am saying is, if you learn to adapt, if you learn to be flexible, you might find that you are able to yield better influence and get what you want out of life. Definitely. And the other word of warning, of course, is if you are putting on that mask, going back to Goffman, putting on that costume the whole time, don't lose sight of who you are. So it's really good to get a little bit mindful, get back in touch with who we are and remind ourselves that when we're putting on that performance, it is empowering, but only when we realise we're putting on that performance.
Brilliant. Audrey, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And we'll see you again next time. Yes. Thank you. Well, everyone, now it's time to head over to Dr. Rob Hicks with this week's Doctor's Answers. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Hi, Chris.
So we have some great questions from our viewers today. Rob, are you ready for the first one?
I am indeed, yes.
So this person says, I've been prescribed a nasal spray called mometasone furoate to help with a blocked nostril and have been told to spray twice into the one nostril. I'm a bit concerned because the doctor told me it contains steroids. Can this make me put on weight?
The simple answer to this is it is highly, highly unlikely that a steroid nasal spray will...
Just the word steroids is a bit scary for people, isn't it?
People relate steroids and they think, oh, I'm going to gain weight. Because if you take tablets of steroids, which affect the whole body, then there is a potential side effect of an increase in appetite. And if the appetite is increased, then we're more likely to eat more and indeed then gain weight. But with a nasal spray, where the steroid is being given what we call locally into the nose, to treat something like, you know, hay fever most often, might be a polyp in the nose, it might be sinusitis, is highly unlikely simply because hardly any, and sometimes none at all, of the steroid is absorbed into the body. It works in the nostril to calm down inflammation. Steroid is being used as an anti-inflammatory.
Okay.
So the answer to your question is it's incredibly unlikely, simply because it won't get into the body in sufficient amounts to cause the problems. It can cause local side effects, so you may get some sort of dryness or crusting in the nose, you may get some nosebleeds, you may get a funny taste in the mouth with the nasal spray. But generally speaking, these nasal sprays, the steroid nasal sprays, are incredibly safe, they're incredibly effective, and they do the job of clearing the blockage in the nose. So I would be reassured about that.
Brilliant. Next question, Rob. This viewer is saying, I get really bad cramps during my period and painkillers don't seem to do the trick. Is there anything else that can help?
Lots. Absolutely lots. A couple of things to think about the painkillers to start with is many people, men and women alike, when they're taking painkillers, they don't take them along the recommended dosage. They might take one or two and then they see how things go. But for painkillers to work, you need to follow the dosage instructions. So make sure you're doing that with the ones that you've tried. The other thing then, of course, is if you find that one type of painkiller isn't working, then switch and try a different one, because not all painkillers work for everybody. That's why there's so many choices available. Your doctor may be able to suggest that using hormonal treatment in the form of the same sort of treatment as you use for contraception, family planning, because that will stop ovulation but also can lessen the severity of cramps that occur before and during a period. Then there are lots of lifestyle things, so not smoking is important, exercise can help, putting something warm onto the painful area on the abdomen, like a hot water bottle wrapped in a cloth, can be very, very soothing. A warm bath or shower can help as well. Massaging very lightly in a circular motion the abdomen, that can help as well, as can lots of different stress relieving ideas too, because obviously often what happens is the pain causes stress, the stress causes more pain, and you get into this vicious cycle. So there are lots of different things that can be tried. So some women benefit from a complementary therapy by using cooled or rather warmed cabbage leaves And some find that cooled works, some find that warm works. Nobody really knows exactly why, but it's very, very common for women who are breastfeeding with sore breasts called mastitis to use this very effectively, and it can work for period cramps as well. But I would suggest to you that if none of these are working for you, have a consultation with your doctor to make sure there's not an underlying condition that's responsible for these cramps that actually needs treatment. So something like endometriosis or fibroids, for example, or indeed some kind of infection. So try these things out. If you're not getting benefit, and particularly if the pains are getting worse and associated with things like heavy periods or increasingly heavy periods, then do get a checkup with your doctor.
Okay, great. And last question for today, Rob. If you're experiencing severe headaches, at what point should you go to the doctor?
Well, that's a really good question, isn't it? There are different categories here. So if it's the worst headache you've ever experienced, or it's sudden and severe, then you should ideally seek emergency help. You know, in the UK, dial 999 or get somebody to take you to accident and emergency, particularly if that headache is associated with symptoms like, shall we say, numbness or paralysis on one side of the body, maybe with neck stiffness, nausea or vomiting, trouble with your vision, trouble with your speech, you know, drowsiness, confusion, fainting, any sort of symptom like that, because that can represent the headache being related to a stroke or something like meningitis, so that which are, you know, emergency conditions that need emergency treatment. If your headache is severe and you're also getting pain in the jaw when you eat, or your scalp feels sore, or you're getting blurred or double vision in any sense, then that needs an urgent appointment or urgent advice from your doctor, because that could be a condition where actually the arteries get inflamed, and that needs urgent treatment as well. Then there's the time when actually, you know, if you're getting headaches they keep coming back, or the over-the-counter treatments are just not dealing with them properly, or they're more frequent than they're used to, or they're causing you distress or affecting your daily living, then if it's that sort of headache, which is not associated with other symptoms, then book an appointment with the doctor to get those checked out, you know, as soon as you can. So those are the bottom line is, if a headache is new and it's severe, when you're simply concerned, just seek some medical advice. But as I said, if it's associated with these, what we call neurological symptoms, or a fever, for example, you know, don't wait to speak to your GP. Get yourself to A&E as soon as you can. So that's the sort of, you know, rule of thumb with headaches, particularly when they're severe.
Brilliant, Rob. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, as
always.
always.
And we'll see you again next week for some more Doctor's Answers.
Yes, you will.
Thank you. And everybody, we all know that we're not going to be able to perform well in anything if we're not well nourished. And for this reason, Ronald Delary-Simpson is here to share his recipe for a healthy breakfast for all-day energy. And we also have Feyi Jegede, who'll be taking us through a workout, because, as you know, exercise helps us to feel good about ourselves. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, host of the UK's only TV programme dedicated to mental health and well-being, The Chrissy B Show, which airs on MyTV Sky 191 every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Follow our social media on YouTube, Instagram and Twitter at Chrissy B Show, and our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. For more information, visit chrissybshow.tv. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone. So now I'm delighted to welcome back Ronald Delary-Simpson, who's going to be telling us about how to put together a healthy breakfast for all-day energy. Welcome back to the show, Ronald. Let's call you Rob for a second. Ronald.
Yes.
How are you? Back from your travels? 6 months?
Yeah, 6 months. That's I expect to come back and get a bit cooler weather, but I've got to pack on sisters here. It's just hot. With 38 degrees, a bit hard to take.
Yeah, we'll get used to it.
Get used to it, yeah. So
this all-day breakfast.
All-day breakfast.
Energy.
What happened over years and years of testing, I've gathered information from over 80 odd countries, right? Mm-hmm. And so I've locked in on the most energetic but low glycemic breakfast.
Okay.
I'll tell you why, because that's why we designed this breakfast, because diabetes type 2 is doubling every 4 years now.
Wow.
Doubling every 4 years. Mm-hmm. So this is a breakfast you can actually reverse diabetes. So it's not good just for someone who hasn't got diabetes, it's good for anybody.
Anyone, okay.
And this combination, I'm going to take it quickly through it, this combination is designed to release energy about every half an hour. And this combination will give you about 8 hours of solid, hardcore energy.
Oh, wow, okay.
I'm talking like gardening, logging, carpentry, or whatever. It's very
fitness
powerful.
exercise?
Fitness exercise.
Brilliant.
That's good for workouts, before workouts.
Okay.
Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the key ingredients. I do not relate to cornflakes at all.
Okay. Okay.
Over process.
Yeah.
This is the really good wild rolled oats. So we put this in first, like that. Okay, like that. So what we do is we've just prepared, this is hot water, right? So we pour about this much, like that, on it. So that becomes like self-cooking, so to speak, about that much. Now, within a few minutes, that's going to start cooking within itself, you see? So now rolled oats is brilliant because it's got a low glycemic index and it just releases energy every half an hour. But it's also got silica, which is brilliant for arthritis. Arthritis and also joint strength, keeps your muscles strong. The next thing we put in is pumpkin seeds. Very good for men. This is good for sexual health. It's also good for immune system. As you can see, pumpkin seeds, right? It's called pepitas. Put that in first, or next I should say. We just leave it like that. And then this is sunflower seeds. Right, sunflower seeds goes in next.
What's that good for?
Sunflower seeds is very good for skin, for the skin. Because the sunflower is bathed with a nutrient that creates vitamin D. And so the vitamin D is very rich in sunflower seeds. It's also very high protein as well, okay? And then this is one of my favorites, the walnuts.
I love those.
If you look at that together, like this, how's that time going? Like that.
Yep.
Walnuts, you notice if you put the walnuts together like that, looks exactly like brains, like your two brains, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So you get half like that. So that's about 3 full walnuts there. And that is very, very good for the communication between the left brain and the right brain. Left brain's logic, right brain's in imagination. So when you put that many, that's all you need. It's about like 6 of those halves, like that. And then what actually happened is these are almonds. Now, walnuts are acidic, sunflower seeds are acidic, pumpkin seeds are acidic. Still good for you. But almonds is the only nuts that's alkaline.
Yeah, I remember when you said
Remember that? And that amount there is a huge amount of protein right there. That's like about 2 eggs there. 2 eggs, like 1 egg is got 6 grams, but like almonds, right, like that. And then these are what are called raisins, flame raisins, right? This is very good for energy as well. As you can see, all these different ingredients are designed to release energy by digesting half an hour, 1 hour, 1.5 hours, you get it? So it's all designed so they all release energy either slowly or quickly, right? So this one is more fructose, so they'll release energy within half an hour. These are wild blackberries, where we pick it up from where we are in the park. This is, you can see the colours, beautiful colour, look at that. So that goes in like that, okay? And then finally, blackberries, by the way, you see the black colour, anything black or purple or red or green or gold or anything bright colour like in aubergine, like that, excellent for the macula of the eyes. And I'll be turning 72 next week, still not wear glasses because every day I eat some form of berry. Preferably blackberry or blueberry or strawberry. I'm not so fond of blueberry unless I grow it myself. Because those strawberries are quite highly sprayed, but the blackberries is unsprayed, the blueberry unsprayed. So this combination is very good for the eyes also. That blackberry combined with the blueberry, absolutely phenomenal for the eyes. Every time you take that, you can see the amount, right? Like that. Every time you take that like that, so there's the breakfast ready. As you can see, it's not a huge bowl.
No.
Not huge, but that there will give you more energy than basically a basket of cornflakes.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? And you're going to get, in this one, you're going to get protein, you're going to get carbohydrates, you're going to get fats from the nuts, you're going to get the lycopene and this one from the blueberries, you're going to get zeaxanthin for the blackberries. So you're getting a hell of a nutrition punch, you know. So if you do that every day, it's so easy to make, as you can see. Like, so what you do now is you just do that, like that. Just bring it like that. That's already been cooking now already, like that. And then we won't put that in because it's messy, but that's the honey.
Okay.
You put about that much honey, and put it in, put about that on the top, and then give it a squeeze. You want to try it?
I might get a bit messy, maybe during the break.
During the break, yeah. Anyway,
what's the milk for then?
The milk is borderline because if you want it a bit more creamy,
okay,
right, we use goat's milk. We don't use cow's milk at all, ever. So,
why?
So because cow's milk is acidic and full of hormones.
Even the organic stuff.
Even the organic stuff, yeah. So that's about.
That looks nicer now.
That looks nice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that is goat's milk at the highest level. Look at that.
That looks really nice.
It looks really nice.
And it's kind of going like a nice colour because of the berries and stuff.
The berries,
inside.
exactly. It's got that.
I am definitely going to try this, but I don't want to get it all over my face because I still have other things to present. So you say every day to have this?
Every day. It's so easy to make.
And not just for breakfast, you can have it.
You can have it any time. Let's say you've been out to the theatre, right, and you're back home at 10 o'clock at night. So rather than go and eat some snacks or some biscuits or some, something that's going to be bad, like chocolate, whatever. Yeah. I'm talking about easy, cheap chocolate. You take one of those and in about an hour later you can go to bed. Yeah. And then that works during the night. In the morning you wake up full of pep, full of energy.
Full of energy.
Yeah, full of energy, full on.
Brilliant. Yeah. Just a quick question, we've got a couple of minutes, Ronald. Yeah. This is a brilliant breakfast. Any other thing that you would recommend for breakfast? Maybe if someone doesn't maybe get sick of this every day.
I think put it this way, I would definitely recommend every day some form of berries, right? Like either the blueberry or raspberry, or certainly blueberries you can get these days pretty often. Huh? Yeah. I would definitely recommend the blueberry and the raspberry and say maybe the blackberry if you can get it, right? Rather, what you can do to say change it a bit, if you took out the pumpkin seeds and the sunflower seeds, and you could put in pistachios. Okay. Okay, pistachios are very high in protein, and pistachios actually does the same similar job as the walnuts for the brain. So pistachios is incredibly good for brain function. Okay. But I recommend you buy your pistachios that are already in the shell. Every time we've bought pistachios that are already shelled, they're rancid. So we buy ours for where it's in the shell, and then we just peel it before breakfast, just for breakfast. Yeah. So what you do, you take out say the sunflower seeds and the almonds, say for example, as an example, and you replace that with pistachios. I don't recommend cashews. Cashews are a bit fatty. Okay. But the other thing you can do, if you like sometimes the taste of banana, but make sure it's a ripe banana. And a ripe banana to me is when you buy the banana, say yellow, but you put it in the sun for 3 or 4 days, and it goes really bright yellow and it's got little black spots on it. Then one banana, very good. Just put it. Brilliant. You can actually even just with this add a banana. Okay. And
what about eggs? Do you ever eat eggs?
I do, but I tend to eat eggs maybe say at lunchtime.
Okay. Right.
Eggs are, if you do workouts, you need about 4 to 6 eggs a day. So if you eat say 6 eggs, the trick with eggs is that you must not overdo the eggs, overcook the eggs. I discovered a trick. What you do, you boil your water, then you get your eggs. When the water is actually boiling, then you get 6 eggs. If you do a heavy workout, 6 eggs, no workout, 4 eggs, right? Okay. You put that in, right, and you let it boil for exactly 4 minutes, After 4 minutes, you take it out, you run a cold water, you peel the eggs and you put that in. 1 egg is 6 grams of protein. And what that does, it actually gives you very good muscle.
Oh, okay.
Very good muscle contraction. And eggs are infinitely better than red meat. Okay. A lot of bodybuilders will tell you red meat, but the red meat takes 92 hours to break down. With an egg, 8 hours. Okay. 8 hours, but the key is I wouldn't mix the egg with that.
No, of course not. Let's talk about alternative breakfast. Ronald, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And we hope to see you again very soon.
Of course.
Thank you.
Of course.
Well, we were just speaking about workouts, so here is Feyi Jegede with some press-ups.
Hi there guys, thank you so much for joining me on today's wonderful fitness segment here on the Chrissy B Show with me, Feyi Jegede. Today I'm going to be taking you through a great simple workout for your arms and right across your chest, and it's a press up. Sometimes people call it a push up, but either way they're both effective and they do the job. So that's what we're going to do. So what you're going to need is one simple mat. If you don't have a mat, grab a towel, double it up so that you're comfortable for your knees. Let's go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the exercise for beginners. Come in with your knees and have it slightly hip width apart. You're going to come down, keeping your back nice and flat. I like to use the distance of my mat as an indicator where to put my hands. So from here, we're going to go down and then push away, okay? So just get my hair out the way, and this is what we're going to do. Hands, push down and push up. So as I bend, I'm bending my arms at a 90-degree angle. So in a nice L shape. Notice the shape of the arms in an L shape, and then you push away. And as you do that, your arms are working and right across your chest, okay? So just give me 3 more. Excellent. 2, 1, and then maybe 1 for luck because you're working really hard. Well done. Now we're going to do a full box press or a full push up, full press up. So what happens is you now need to come on your toes. Even I struggle with this because it is quite hard. It's really working those arms and those legs. So we're going to push down and push up, down and up. Now I might go a bit faster because it's very hard, or if you take it slow, you will find that you are working twice as hard. Keep going. Oh, and really push through. Wow, that was a toughie. So there you have it, guys. Your push up, your box press, your press up, whatever the name is, good for the arms, right at the back of your arms and right across your chest. So thank you guys for joining me on today's workout here on the Chrissy B Show with myself, Feyi Jegede. Take care, and I'll catch up with you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much to Feyi there. Well, after the break, Helena Chard is back to give us some positive news, and we show you the latest primary school we visited to continue with the MHDChallenge Tour. And this time, it wasn't just the kids getting stuck in, this was the liveliest group of teachers I've encountered on the tour so far. Welcome back to today's Chrissy B Show, everyone. We've been asking the question, are you selling you or slating you? And if you've missed the beginning of this program, you can head over to our YouTube channel tomorrow and you can find the show there. So now it's time to head over to the lovely Helena Chard, who's right here next to me, for a helping of happy. Hello, Helena.
Hi, Chrissy.
Lovely to have you back on, my darling.
Thank you, pleasure always. So I have lots of different news.
Okay.
Beginning with Daniel Gillings, he's only 12 and he's a very driven, determined, focused young man. He's ambitious, he wants to teach deaf children and encourage more people to learn British Sign Language, with the hope that more people will become interpreters in the future. He is actually deaf and dumb himself, and one of the things is, although British Sign Language is his first language, and it's been recognised for 15 years, there's no actual GCSE in it.
Oh,
which I didn't realise.
I didn't know that.
Isn't it? So it's quite surprising. Anyway, so he's launched a campaign for change. Well, it's really unfair, isn't it? Because obviously it's a first language, etc. And it's seen as discriminatory and unlawful, but he hopes it will be changed in a few years' time. He'll be able to take it on his curriculum. But the main thing is, it's not just about getting his GCSE. He's fighting about equality, recognition, and breaking down barriers that will help deaf people as well as helping, hearing people. So I think really great and focused for his age. Absolutely. Moving on to self-worth. Now, Nicki Minaj was leaving lots of tweets, a huge amount of tweets, and urging women to know their self-worth. coming from a relationship point of view. Yeah. So she was talking about herself, pouring her heart out, talking about how she's met loads and loads of men who wanted to have her babies, wanted to marry her, but they also didn't treat her well. So basically saying, you know, being emotionally, mentally or physically abused by somebody is not happiness, and you can't settle for that. So she's talking about respecting ourselves. Spirituality is the key, and once your spirit can soar on its own, enjoying newfound freedom, you're ready to meet the perfect person who's going to treat you like a queen. So it was quite positive. Knowing your worth as well. Ellen Pompeo, who's a lead actress from Grey's Anatomy. I mean, she's doing really, really well. But everyone's interested in how she's done so well, because she's on this humongous salary, 20 million or something. But people are wanting to know her negotiating secret. So she was talking about it, and just a few little tips. So one, knowing your numbers. So she found out that her co-star Patrick Dempsey was on a certain amount of money, and obviously she's just as successful, wanted to be on the same money. Okay. She also found out that the show had generated $3 billion for Disney, and just seeing that in writing, she suddenly realised, obviously, her worth. Yeah, absolutely. So obviously got a rise, which is good. Being willing to walk away from what you're doing as well, that's quite key. Offering positive solutions, etc., when you're talking to people higher up to get what you want, so not making it a complete negative. And 3, being honest, so you're walking the walk and stop trying to be perfect, being yourself. So I mean, there was a lot more, but they were just key things that came up.
Interesting. Helena, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chrissy.
And we shall see you again next time.
Look forward to it.
Thank you. Well, everyone, as promised, it's now time to show you our latest visit on our MHD Challenge Tour, this time to Little Hadham Primary School. Today I'm here at Little Hadham Primary School to continue with our MHD Challenge Tour. Now I know that the students here have been really practicing. I've heard they're doing an amazing job, so I can't wait to meet them. And we also have a special surprise for you today. Let's go inside. How are you today? Who knows what MHD stands for? Oh, brilliant. Yes, Mental Health Dance Challenge. And what do the moves in the dance mean, do you think? Yes, at the back there. Punching. So we've got that one, yeah? Because sometimes we can feel like there's lots of stuff going on inside our brain, isn't it? So we're saying, no, we're not going to leave it in there. We're going to get it out. We're going to talk to someone. We're going to fight back.
Tell me a little bit about why you think it's important to raise awareness in school and talk about mental health and problems.
Because if you don't talk about it, you could keeping all those worries in can cause depression and anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about for you? Why do you think it's important for the challenge to go around schools and for people to talk about it?
I think it's very important so that people know what's going on, and also know how to fight it, and so they know that they can talk to people and don't feel scared.
DJ, hit the music!
I really like the punching bit where you're boxing.
Okay, so why was that bit the best bit then?
Because it's you're fighting it back.
Down, I'm a winner. All of you here have potential. You are all very, very special. You are very strong inside. Sometimes this is just about learning how to use that strength as well.
So when you got to hear about the challenge, what did you think?
I thought it was something good for the school to do, and it'd be quite fun learning the dance moves and everyone to join in with the dance and stuff. Yeah.
So how did you teach it to the rest of the school?
Well, most of sports crew stood up on the stage, as you saw in the hall, and we would go through the dance move like on the video, and the rest of the school would be in front of us watching us.
And if you, if there was somebody out watching tonight from a school and they had a big problem or a worry that they didn't know what to do with, what would you tell them to do?
I would probably tell them to either speak up to someone if they're finding that really hard, maybe call someone, or just try let it out in whatever way you can, by either writing, telling, or just saying something.
Freestyle! Go!
So now I'm with Liz Stockley, who's the head teacher here at this school. They did an amazing job, Liz. I was so impressed. And I have to say the teachers did a great job as well.
We go for it here, yeah. We all join in. No, we had great fun. Great fun this morning. Thank you very much. I think it's the first time that we've actually had a film crew in school, so that experience in itself is just amazing. So
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Now tell me, Liz, what did you think of the idea when someone first told you about the MHD challenge? What did you think?
First of all, I thought it was great because it had our great guys dancing, and a big push at the moment is to get boys talking as well as girls talking. So I think setting that kind of role model is just brilliant, and it really inspires some of our guys to get dancing, which is just fantastic. But also the raising awareness of mental health is so key. In this school we do an awful lot of things. We do mindfulness, we have our network hands, very much encouraging children to talk about their problems rather than to bottle it up and keep it inside.
Tell us about the tap dancers.
Yes, our 4 tap dancers have all represented England at the World Cup, and they were actually on duty at the World Cup last month. And one of our pupils actually won gold, so you've actually got a world champion here as well today.
How do you think you will use the MHD challenge now to keep the conversation going about mental health?
Well, I think the dance moves will stay with us forever, especially as we can get them on the boombox outside, so there'll be lots of dancing outside. I think it's just a very memorable experience. No one necessarily remembers their best maths lesson that they've had or their best literacy lesson, but I think they'll remember their best mental health dance challenge that they've had, so that's great. Thank you.
Great pleasure that I present this certificate to Little Hadham Primary School for successfully completing the MHD challenge. Well done! Oh, Sharon, another school that we've done the MHD challenge in.
Fantastic. I've had a great day.
I know. What did you think of the kids today?
The kids were amazing. And those freestylers.
I know. And the tap dancing as well.
Yeah, amazing.
And the teachers.
The teachers were great.
They got
I've
really
had a great
in.
time today. And what a beautiful day too.
I know. Do you know what? We've come so far since we launched the dance last year, and this is more than what I expected, so I think it's just been brilliant.
It's been fantastic. I never thought we'd get to so many schools. It's been great.
Yeah. And we've got more coming up.
I know, which is great. Looking forward to that.
Do you know what? There's one thing that's compulsory before we go.
What's that?
Let's have a look. Sharon, back to school again?
Yeah, go for it. 7. 6.
Thanks very much to the pupils and teachers at Little Hadham Primary School, and we'd like to wish head teacher Liz Stockley all the best in her retirement, and we're so glad that you went with a bang doing the MHD challenge. Well, now I'm just going to summarise my thoughts about today's programme, and I think personally that the very best way of selling yourself is, and I know it's a cliche, is actually just being yourself. Because if you try to exaggerate things, for example on your CV or maybe on some social networks, you will get found out eventually. And I've had this experience with people where, you know, they've said a whole load of things about themselves, and when I actually met them or worked with them, some things were completely different, and you could tell that this person had exaggerated, and it just comes across really badly. So what's better to do is actually just to say the truth, be who you are, and pick on the qualities that you are really good at, and pick on those things, sell those things. You don't have to be, you know, good at everything. Sometimes people think, oh well, I'm only good at this particular thing or that particular thing. That's absolutely, many times it's enough. It's just that you have to know how to put those things across and sell yourself, as we heard with Chris earlier. And sometimes as well, I think it's important not to try to conform too much, because if you have a certain opinion about something, or maybe it's certain values that you hold, and maybe you think, oh, because maybe things are different, most people don't think the way that I do, I have a different opinion to what most people have. What's wrong with that? Sometimes selling yourself means actually to also stand alone. I'll give you my own example. We hear a lot now in the media and stuff like that, depression, you can learn to live with depression, you can learn to manage depression. I completely disagree with that. I don't think anyone should learn to live with depression. I don't think anyone should learn to manage depression, because I know that depression can be completely beaten with no relapses and no going back, because I've experienced that in my life. So, you know, I'm not going to conform and say, yes, I agree that we should learn to manage depression, when that's not what I feel, that's not what I think. And I know sometimes, you know, I end up disagreeing with people, sometimes big charities, but for me, I don't care, because that's my opinion and I'm going to stick to it, because I'm very passionate about that, because I don't think it's a good idea to say to someone that's depressed, knowing how it feels to be depressed, I don't think it's a good idea to say to them, well, you know, learn to manage it, because to be honest, depression is a horrible thing to live with, and if there's a way to get over it, you should go for it. So, and telling someone that, well, this is it for you for the rest of your life, I think that's quite irresponsible. As you can see, I feel very passionately about this from the way that I'm speaking about it, but that's what I mean. If you just go and say what everyone else is saying just to be politically correct and not to ruffle any feathers, then you're not being yourself. So if there's something that you feel strongly about, stick to your guns and, you know, speak about your opinion, tell others. You can help so many people that way. Just don't try to just do or be something just because everyone else is being that or doing that, or certain things that, you know, everyone's posting certain things on social media, so you feel that you have to do it as well. You don't have to do that. But that's my thought for the day anyway. So we have reached the end of today's program, but if you have a story that you would like to share, please do get in touch with us on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at chrissybshow and also Instagram us on the same. And also you can leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And also if you'd like to know more about me and how I beat depression completely and panic attacks and OCD and other mental health issues, you can visit my personal website, which is mylifeafterdepression.com. Until next time, bye for now.